Hello, my dear friends. Imagine yourself wandering through the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where the air is thick with the scent of exotic spices and the clamor of merchants fills your ears. You might picture grand temples, impressive architecture, and the vibrant life of citizens proudly flaunting their togas. But let's be real, you probably once survived this journey through the oddities of Roman occupations. These roles, often overlooked in the grand narrative of history, hide a world that is as fascinating as it is a bit gross. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. As you stroll along the cobblestone pathways, it's easy to get swept up in the glamour of the Roman Empire. But lurking behind the impressive fade of power and prestige, you'll discover a range of peculiar jobs that reveal a different side of daily life. This script will guide you through the oddest occupations in ancient Rome, where the surreal mingled with the mundane, and where the shocking realities often stood in stark contrast to the public's polished image. You might be surprised to learn that the Romans had some truly bizarre jobs, from toga makers to those responsible for cleaning the sewers. Each profession carried its own unique blend of pride and stigma, and as we dive deeper into this world, you'll uncover the fascinating stories behind these trades. For example, take the toga and its makers. The toga, a flowing garment that symbolized Roman citizenship and status, was often depicted as a mark of dignity. However, the men and women behind them toga makers worked tirelessly to create these symbols of respectability, often using heavy and coarse materials that left them sweaty and covered in dirt. They toiled away, dreaming of the very status their garments bestowed upon others, while their own lives remained shrouded in the grime of the workshop. As we delve into the world of these odd jobs, remember that behind each glamorous illusion lies a shocking reality. The roles that kept the empire running were often riddled with discomfort, stigma, and an unsettling truth. Many of these jobs were far from glamorous. The social hierarchies of ancient Rome dictated perceptions of worth, leaving some professions deemed unworthy or even distasteful. But in the heart of the empire, these professions were essential, and those who filled them were indispensable. By exploring these unusual roles, we'll not only uncover the lives of those who held them, but also the historical logic and societal norms that allowed such oddities to exist. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you navigate the bustling streets of ancient Rome, your eyes are drawn to the elegant togas worn by the citizens, flowing fabric that whispers of status and sophistication. But behind this image of grandeur lies a hidden world, the life of the toga maker. This profession, while crucial to Roman society, paints a surprisingly different picture from the opulent garments that adorned the elite. Imagine the toga maker hunched over a pile of coarse wool, their hands stained with the remnants of dyes and sweat. The process was labor-intensive, often requiring the artisan to skillfully weave, cut, and stitch the heavy fabric into the flowing shape that would eventually signify citizenship and respectability. For the wealthy, the toga was much more than just a garment. It was a statement of power and privilege. Yet for the toga maker, this symbol of high status became a daily reminder of their social standing, and that shrouded them in the unpleasant juxtaposition of their own humble existence. Despite the toga's esteemed reputation, the reality for those who crafted it was anything but glamorous. You would find these artisans in dark, cramped workshops, surrounded by the smell of sweat, wool, and stale dye. Togas themselves were often made from unrefined materials that would itch and irritate the skin. Imagine spending hours draped in heavy folds, surrounded by the clamor of others working diligently beside you, your fingers raw from the toil, but knowing that your art would soon adorn the shoulders of the elite. The toga maker's life was a blend of artistry and labor, a contrast that highlights the social disparities of Roman society. But why did this system persist? Why did the toga makers accept their place in the hierarchy, despite producing something so vital to the identity of Roman citizens? The answer lies in the broader societal structure of Rome, where class distinctions were rigid and deeply ingrained. While the toga represented power to the ruling class, the artisans remained invisible, their contributions overshadowed by the garments they crafted. This reflection of social order was not just a fashion statement, it was a rigidly maintained hierarchy that allowed the wealthy to remain untouched by the realities of those beneath them. As you ponder the life of the toga maker, consider how this dynamic still resonates today. Many modern professions involve a similar disparity between the creator and the consumer, where the labor behind a product is often hidden from view. The shocking reality of the toga maker's world serves as a reminder that glamour can often be an illusion, concealing the hard work and sacrifice that lie beneath. Now, as we move forward, let's delve deeper into another peculiar occupation that played a significant role in daily Roman life. Picture a bustling street filled with the faint scent of flowers and the sounds of laughter, but just behind this vibrant facade lies a profession that most would find less than pleasant, fullers, who processed the very garments that glorified Roman citizens. As you wander deeper into the heart of ancient Rome, the vibrant atmosphere is punctuated by the sound of clinking clay and the murmur of chatter. Here, amidst the throng, you encounter the fullers, a profession that many Romans knew of but few wished to acknowledge. These artisans were responsible for cleaning and finishing garments, ensuring that the togas and tunics draped upon the elite were nothing short of pristine. However, the reality of their work is a far cry from the polished image of fine clothing adorning well-to-do citizens. Imagine stepping into a fullery, where the air is heavy with the acrid scent of urine, a key ingredient in the cleaning process. Yes, you heard that right, urine. The fullers would collect this liquid from public latrines, using it to bleach and cleanse the fabrics. The ammonia in urine was particularly effective for lifting stains and odors, making it a cost-effective solution for cleaning wool. Yet, this reliance on such a foul-smelling substance reveals the unglamorous side of a profession that, on the surface, seems essential to maintaining public appearances. Picture a group of fullers, hard at work, their hands immersed in large vats filled with filthy water mixed with urine. As they stomp on the garments, the fabric squelches and squishes beneath their feet, absorbing the noxious mixture while the stench fills the air. While the wealthy citizens, dressed in their immaculate togas, walked the streets with heads held high, these workers performed the grimy labor that kept their appearances intact. The fullers were essential to the fabric of society, yet their trade was steeped in the unpleasantness that accompanied their work. The social implications of the fullers' trade were stark. Though their work was vital, it was also viewed with disdain. Much like the toga makers, fullers were often relegated to the lower rungs of society. Their profession was seen as unclean and menial, not fitting for those who aspired to high status. The irony lies in the fact that these individuals were, in many ways, the unsung heroes of Roman fashion, ensuring that the garments of the elite were spotless. Yet they were condemned to a life of labor, their importance overshadowed by the societal stigma attached to their work. This dynamic raises intriguing questions about the nature of labor and social perception in ancient Rome. Fullers were often forced to navigate a world where their essential contributions went unrecognized while they remained tethered to a trade deemed less honorable. The shocking reality of their profession reveals a society that thrived on appearances, where the glamorous illusion of a well-dressed citizen was built upon the unacknowledged toil of those who cleaned and prepared their garments. As we step away from the fullery, let's shift our focus to another hidden aspect of Roman life, one that dwelled in the darker corners of the bustling city's sewer cleaners. These unsung laborers faced a different kind of stigma, one that challenges our understanding of sanitation and the complexities of urban life in the ancient world. Beneath the vibrant streets of ancient Rome, a hidden world exists, where the stench of refuse intensifies and the echo of water flows through dark channels. This is the realm of the sewer cleaners, a profession that most Roman citizens preferred to ignore. While the elite flaunted their splendor above ground, the sewer cleaners toiled in the shadows, keeping the city's sanitation in check. Their work, though crucial for public health and urban functionality, paints a picture that is far from glamorous. Picture yourself crouched in the narrow tunnels, where the smell of excrement and decay is overwhelming. These workers, often referred to as scavengers, navigated a maze of filth, armed with little more than basic tools, a wooden pole and a bucket. Their task was to clear out the clogged drains and ensure that wastewater flowed smoothly away from the bustling streets above. The very fabric of Roman life depended on these individuals, yet they remained largely invisible to the society they served. The shocking reality of the sewer cleaners' life reflects a profound contrast to the grand ideals of the Roman Empire. While citizens openly celebrated public baths and the beauty of their cities, the truth was that sanitation was a daily challenge. Overflowing sewers posed a constant risk of disease and unpleasant odors, making the role of the sewer cleaner absolutely essential. However, those who took on this role were often viewed as the lowest of the low, deemed unclean and undesirable by their fellow citizens. The job of a sewer cleaner was not only physically demanding but also dangerous. The risk of disease was ever present, as the workers faced exposure to pathogens lurking in the muck. Imagine being cut off from the society you serve, working tirelessly in the shadows while the people above you bask in the luxury of clean streets and public baths. This profession illustrates the uncomfortable truth about urban life in ancient Roman society that thrived on the labor of those who were often relegated to the margins. The sewer cleaner's place in the social hierarchy brings us to a vital question. Why did such a system endure? Why did these workers accept their fate in the face of such stigma? The answer lies in the harsh realities of survival and the unyielding economic structures of the time. In a world where jobs were scarce, the need for employment often outweighed the desire for dignity. The sewer cleaners were driven by necessity, navigating a life that many would consider unthinkable for the sake of survival. As we shift our focus, let's rise from the depths of the sewers and step back into the light, where we'll explore another peculiar trade that both entertained and shocked a profession bound up with the brutality of the gladiatorial games. The life of a gladiator trainer not only reveals a compelling duality between glory and gore, but also prompts a reflection on the very nature of entertainment in Roman society. As you emerge from the gloomy depths of the sewer, the atmosphere changes dramatically. The sun shines brightly, illuminating the spectacles of ancient Rome, where coliseums filled with roaring crowds draw your attention. However, behind the glitz and glamour of the gladiatorial games lies the shadowy world of the gladiator trainer, a profession that embodies both the thrill of victory and the harsh reality of violence. Imagine standing in the training grounds, known as the ludus, surrounded by muscular men and women preparing for battle. Each fighter, known as a gladiator, is not merely a warrior, they are a spectacle, trained to entertain the masses in brutal combat. As a trainer, your role is to prepare these athletes for the arena, sculpting their bodies into weapons of destruction. The glamorous illusion surrounding gladiators, their honor, bravery, and fame masks an ugly truth. Many were slaves, forced to fight for their lives while the elite reveled in their bloodshed. The life of a gladiator trainer is riddled with contradictions. You might think of this role as one of prestige, a chance to shape champions. But the reality is far more grim. Trainers dealt with the brutalities of combat day in and day out, witnessing injuries, deaths, and the psychological toll that such violence exacted on the fighters. The sounds of clashing weapons and agonized cries echo throughout the grounds as you instruct your gladiators to own their skills. Each day, you must motivate them to fight, knowing that their survival hinges on their performance in the arena. While society celebrated the gladiatorial games as a testament to strength and courage, the truth was that these spectacles were grotesque and exploitative. Trainers were often viewed with disdain, mere caretakers of human weapons. Even though they played a pivotal role in shaping the heroes of the arena, they were tainted by association with the violence that defined the games. The social standing of gladiator trainers was paradoxical. They were simultaneously admired for their expertise yet disdained for their involvement in a blood sport. This raises an intriguing question about Roman values and the nature of entertainment. Why did a society so enamored with glory and heroism choose to revel in bloodshed? The answer lies in the Roman worldview, where concepts of honor, valiance, and mortality intertwined. The game served not only as entertainment, but also as a means of reinforcing social hierarchies and showcasing the power of the elite. The gladiators represented the dichotomy of freedom and servitude, the ultimate embodiment of human struggle in the face of death. As you walk away from the ludus, the echoes of clashing swords still ringing in your ears, let's turn our attention to another unusual profession within this complex society of hunters or hunters, who roam the wilds to capture exotic animals for the games. Their work, while thrilling and adventurous, also presents a disquieting reality about nature and the costs of entertainment in ancient Rome. Stepping away from the gladiatorial arena, you're swept into the wilderness of ancient Rome, where the untamed landscapes teem with life. Here, amidst the trees and hills, resides a fascinating yet troubling profession, the venator, or hunter. These individuals were tasked with capturing exotic animals for the games, a job that blended skill, danger, and moral complexity. While the venator might be seen as a brave figure, the truth of their profession reveals a darker underbelly of Roman entertainment culture. Imagine the thrill of the hunt, the rush of adrenaline coursing through your veins as you track a wild beast across rugged terrain. The venator, armed with a spear and a keen sense of awareness, moves stealthily, sometimes working in teams to corner their prey. The glamour of this pursuit often paints a romantic image of the hunter, a figure who bravely tames the wild. However, the shocking reality is far less noble. The venators were often driven by economic necessity, their hunts dictated by the demands of the games rather than any sense of adventure or thrill. Picture the venators returning to the city, their victories laden with the weight of captured animals, lions, bears, and even exotic creatures from far-reaching corners of the empire. Each hunt was not just a show of bravery, but a cruel spectacle, aimed at satisfying the ravenous appetite of a bloodthirsty audience. The animals, ripped from their natural habitats, faced a fate that most could not escape. Many would be forced to fight in the arena, pitted against gladiators or each other in a macabre display of death and destruction. The sights and sounds of the crowds jeering and cheering as life was extinguished would haunt any compassionate soul. This brutal reality opens up a complex discourse surrounding the ethics of entertainment in ancient Rome. While the hunters may have enjoyed a sense of pride in their skills, they were complicit in an industry that thrived on violence and the exploitation of both animals and humans. The societal acceptance of such spectacles reveals a troubling truth about Roman values that prioritized entertainment over empathy. Why did this culture of blood sport continue to thrive? The answer lies in the ingrained beliefs about power and spectacle. For the Roman populace, the hunt was a demonstration of control over nature, a reflection of their dominion over life itself. The Venators, in turn, were caught in a cycle of necessity, forced to navigate a role that demanded they reconcile their love of the hunt with the moral implications of their actions. As you take a moment to absorb the complexities of the Venator's life, let's transition to another unusual but essential trade within Roman society. This one, however, is less about the thrill of the hunt and more about the artistry of communication sign writer, whose craft brought vibrant life to the signage of the bustling city. The juxtaposition of their profession against the backdrop of a violent culture offers a fresh perspective on the importance of words and images in shaping public perception. As you wander back into the bustling lanes of ancient Rome, the vibrant colors of painted signs capture your attention. They hang from shop fronts, flutter in the breeze, and beckon passers-by with promises of fine goods and services. This is the realm of the sign writer, an often overlooked profession that played a crucial role in the daily lives of Romans. While the imagery may seem innocuous, the life of a sign writer unveils a fascinating contrast between the allure of communication and the grim realities of their trade. Picture the sign writer at work, surrounded by pots of vivid pigments and brushes of varying sizes. Each stroke of the brush is a careful deliberation, crafting letters and images that will entice customers to enter the shops. The glamour of the sign writer's role lies in their ability to transform blank surfaces into eye-catching advertisements, bringing vibrancy to the otherwise dull cityscape. However, the shocking reality is that many of these artisans were not only artisans, but also laborers who often worked in poor conditions, scraping by to make a living while their art adorned the city. Imagine the sign writer hunched over in the fading light, their fingers stained with paint and their backs aching from hours of toil. The pressure to create attractive signs, paired with the fierce competition from other craftsmen, made their job a constant struggle for survival. While the elite flaunted their wealth through extravagant feasts and opulent clothing, sign writers labored in obscurity, their talents unrecognized by those who patronized their work. The irony is palpable. Their art was everywhere, yet they were seldom celebrated or acknowledged. The societal perceptions surrounding sign writing reflect broader themes of status and worth. For many Romans, the profession was seen as lowly, akin to that of a merchant or a laborer, despite its critical role in commerce. For the elite, the sign writer was just another cog in the machine of trade, their contributions overshadowed by the wealth of those who owned the goods being sold. This dynamic raises questions about the value placed on artistic labor, something that continues to resonate in our modern world. Why did such attitudes persist? The Roman Empire was built on a rigid class structure, where the elite held power and influence, often disregarding those whose work made their opulence possible. The sign writer, much like other tradespeople, were trapped in a system that valued status over skill, relegating them to the margins of society despite their essential contributions. As you contemplate the life of the sign writer, consider the power of words and images in shaping lives. In many ways, they were the storytellers of their time, crafting narratives that brought commerce to life. Next, let's transition from these vibrant world of signage to explore the eloquent realm of rhetoric. Here, we'll delve into the life of a rhetor or orator, whose art of persuasion commanded the attention of the masses and held the power to sway public opinion, revealing another layer of the complex social tapestry of ancient Roman life. As you step into the bustling public forums of ancient Rome, the air crackles with the energy of debate and discourse. Here, amidst the throngs of citizens, stands the rhetor and orator whose skill in persuasion elevates them to the esteemed heights of public life. The rhetor's life seems cloaked in glamour, garnering respect and admiration from the masses, yet beneath this facade lies a world fraught with competition, pressure, and the gnawing fear of failure. Picture the rhetor standing confidently before a crowd, gesturing with grandiose flair, their voice rising and falling like a wave. They wield words as weapons, captivating audiences with eloquence and charm. The art of rhetoric was not merely a skill but a vital tool of power, influencing public opinion and shaping the political landscape of Rome. Yet, the shocking reality for many rhettors is that this seemingly glamorous profession was riddled with uncertainty. A slip of the tongue or a poorly received speech could ruin a career overnight. Imagine the hours spent preparing for a public address, poring over texts and practicing in front of a mirror. Every word must be meticulously chosen, every gesture calculated. While the audience may see a confident figure commanding their attention, the truth is that many rhettors faced immense pressure to perform flawlessly. The stakes were high, as public perception could make or break their standing within society. Failure in front of a crowd could lead to ridicule and loss of reputation, a fate that many feared. Moreover, the role of a rhetor was not free from the darker side of politics and power struggles. Many of these skilled speakers were entangled in the web of political alliances, often forced to advocate for their patrons or navigate the treacherous waters of public sentiment. The rhetor was both revered and scrutinized. While their talents could elevate them to positions of influence, they were also at the mercy of the fickle opinions of the masses. This paradox reflects a broader truth about power dynamics in ancient Roman society that prized eloquence, while simultaneously subjecting its speakers to harsh judgment. The rhetorical profession also raises questions about the nature of truth and manipulation in public discourse. In a world where persuasion was paramount, how much of what the rhetor presented was genuine? The line between truth and theatrics often blurred, revealing a society that valued the illusion of confidence over authenticity. This manipulation of language served to highlight the complexities of human interaction, revealing both the potential for great eloquence and the dangers of deceit. As we leave those lovely forums behind, let's now turn our gaze toward another peculiar profession, fortune tellers, whose prophetic words offered a glimpse into the future and a sense of control in an uncertain world. Their role in Roman society illuminates the intersection of belief and reality, showcasing how the desire for insight could lead to both fascination and skepticism. As you venture deeper into the fabric of Roman society, you find yourself in the bustling marketplaces, filled with the chatter of merchants and the scent of spices. Yet amidst this vibrant chaos lurks a profession that straddles the line between belief and skepticism, the fortune teller. With their mysterious allure, these individuals offered insight into the future, drawing curious crowds eager to hear what fate had in store for them. While the practice of divination may seem enchanting, the reality of the fortune teller's life is steeped in complexity and contradiction. Picture yourself stepping into the tent of a fortune teller, the air thick with incense and the soft flicker of candlelight casting shadows on the walls. The fortune teller, draped in colorful fabrics, gazes into a crystal ball or examines the patterns made by scattered bones or cards. Their words weave a tapestry of possibilities, providing guidance and reassurance to those seeking clarity in their uncertain lives. The glamorous illusion of prophetic wisdom captures the imagination, suggesting that the future is not merely a random series of events, but something that can be foreseen and, perhaps, altered. However, the shocking reality for many fortune tellers is that their profession often oscillated between genuine belief and trickery. While some truly believed in their abilities to communicate with the divine or interpret omens, others exploited the fears and desires of their clients for personal gain. The line between authenticity and deception became blurred, leading to a complex relationship with the public. Many Romans were skeptical, viewing the fortune tellers as charlatans preying on the vulnerable. Yet, despite this skepticism, the demand for their services remained high, reflecting a deep-seated need for guidance in a world filled with uncertainties. The fortune teller's role also highlights the societal pressures surrounding fate and personal agency. In a culture that revered omens and signs, many people sought reassurance in the idea that their future was already mapped out. For some, this belief offered comfort in times of struggle. For others, it became a means of absolving oneself of responsibility. The practice of seeking predictions could reveal a profound desire to understand one's place in the vast, unpredictable world of ancient Rome. But why did such a profession persist in the face of skepticism? The answer lies in the way fortune-telling tapped into the collective psyche of Roman society, offering not just predictions but a sense of community and belonging. The act of consulting a fortune teller became a social event, where individuals gathered to share their fears and hopes, creating a network of support that transcended the individual experience. As we step away from the tent of the fortune teller, let's explore yet another curious occupation, the vomitorium attendant. This job, often misunderstood, reveals yet another layer of the intricate social tapestry of ancient Rome, where the lines between indulgence and necessity blurred in the most unexpected ways. Stepping away from the mystique of fortune-telling, you find yourself amidst the revelry of a Roman banquet, where the air is filled with laughter, the clinking of goblets, and the enticing aroma of lavish dishes. Yet, Behind this fade of opulence lies a peculiar and often misunderstood profession: vomitorium attendants. Contrary to popular belief, vomitoria were not simply places for the elite to purge their feasts, but rather a role that reflected the excesses and peculiarities of Roman dining traditions. Imagine the scene: a grand hall adorned with frescoes, where wealthy citizens indulge in a feast that seems to know no bounds. Platters overflowing with delicacies are presented, while entertainers perform to amuse the guests. In the midst of it all, the vomitorium attendant stands ready, adept at navigating the fine line between excess and moderation. Their job was not merely to oversee the vomitoria passageways that allowed guests to exit and re-enter during the sumptuous feasts, but also to assist those who had overindulged. While the glamorous allure of Roman banquets paints a picture of luxury and pleasure, the shocking reality lies in the often overlooked consequences of such indulgence. The act of feasting was not just about savoring fine foods; it often involved excessive consumption, leading to discomfort and the desperate need to relieve oneself of the excess. The vomitorium attendant's role was to ensure that guests could navigate this uncomfortable reality with some measure of dignity, facilitating a return to the dining experience without drawing unwanted attention. Consider this: the vomitorium attendant would often carry with them a set of tool sponges soaked in vinegar or water, intended for cleaning and refreshing guests after their, shall we say, excessive escapades. Their work was not glamorous; it involved dealing with the aftermath of indulgence, ensuring that the guests could continue to enjoy the evening without the burden of their own excesses weighing heavily upon them. Yet, within this role lies a deeper commentary on the social dynamics of ancient Rome. The vomitorium attendants were often viewed with contempt, their job seen as menial and distasteful. While the wealthy feasted and celebrated, there were those tasked with managing the consequences of such extravagance. This speaks to a broader societal issue: how the elite often flaunted their wealth, while relying on the labor of others to maintain their lifestyles. But vomitorium attendants, like many others in this script, were essential to the indulgent lifestyle of the upper echelons, but remained hidden in the shadows, their contributions largely unrecognized. The persistence of such a profession reveals the deeper complexities of Roman culture, where the celebration of excess was both a source of pride and a societal burden. The vomitorium attendant's existence serves as a reminder of the intricate balance between indulgence and responsibility, highlighting how the pursuit of pleasure often came at a cost. As we transition from the feasting halls, let's explore another facet of Roman life: the balneater, or bathhouse attendant. Here, in the steamy, fragrant atmosphere of the public baths, we will uncover yet another layer of social interaction and the complexities of cleanliness and social status in ancient Rome. As you step into the lavish domain of the Roman bathhouse, you are enveloped in a world of warmth and steam, the air thick with the mingling scents of oils and fragrant herbs. The bathhouse served as a social hub for the Romans, a place where citizens gathered to cleanse not only their bodies, but also to engage in conversation and camaraderie. However, behind the serene fade of relaxation, the role of the balneater, or bathhouse attendant, reveals a complex and often overlooked reality. Imagine yourself wandering through the bustling hallways of the bathhouse, where the sounds of splashing water and laughter fill the air. The balneater moves deftly through the crowd, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. They monitor the temperature of the water, provide oils and scrubs for patrons, and even assist clients in navigating the intricacies of the bathing ritual. While the glamorous illusion of the bathhouse is one of indulgence and luxury, the life of a balneater is steeped in labor and discomfort. The shocking reality of this profession is that the balneater was often responsible for much of the cleanliness and upkeep of the facilities. Picture them scrubbing floors, draining filthy water, and dealing with the remnants of the countless patrons who came and went throughout the day. Their work was physically demanding, often performed in uncomfortable conditions where mud and grime were a constant presence. The irony lies in the fact that while bathhouses were places of cleanliness and rejuvenation for the upper classes, the people who maintained them often faced a life of toil and dirt. Moreover, societal perceptions of balneaters reflect broader themes of class and hygiene in ancient Rome. While the elite enjoyed the luxury of baths as a status symbol, the attendants were often dismissed as lowly, their contributions overlooked by the very people who benefited from their labor. This dynamic raises fundamental questions about the nature of work and value in Roman society. Why were those who ensured cleanliness and comfort considered lesser in status? The answer lies in the rigid class structure that permeated Roman life. The balneater, despite their essential role, often found themselves entrenched in a social hierarchy that deemed their work unworthy. The bathhouse, a melting pot of interactions among citizens of varying classes, revealed the stark contrasts that existed within society. While patrons reveled in the luxury of their surroundings, the balneaters labored in anonymity, their sweat and hard work camouflaged by the steam of the baths. As you contemplate the life of the balneater, remember the delicate balance between luxury and labor, and how the pursuit of cleanliness often depended on the unseen efforts of many. Next, let's shift our attention to another critical yet underappreciated trait, scribe, whose painstaking work preserved the words of the ages and shaped the very fabric of Roman communication. In the heart of ancient Rome, amidst the bustling taverns and vibrant marketplaces, you find yourself in a quiet corner filled with the scratch of quills and the faint smell of ink. This is the world of the scribe. These dedicated individuals played a crucial role in the preservation of knowledge, communication, and administration, yet their labor often remains uncelebrated in the grand narrative of history. The scribe's life is an intriguing blend of artistry and diligence, as they meticulously inscribe words onto parchment, ensuring that the thoughts and transactions of their time endure. Picture a scribe hunched over a wooden desk, focused intently on the task at hand. With a steady hand, they dip their quill into ink and begin to write, forming letters and words that will convey everything from legal documents to poetry. The glamour of their role may seem limited to the act of writing, but the reality is far more complex. The life of a scribe was not merely about creating beautiful manuscripts, it was a relentless grind, often involving long hours under dim lighting, surrounded by the musty scent of scrolls. The shocking truth is that many scribes endured harsh working conditions, often cramped in small spaces with limited resources. They were frequently overworked, responsible for copying texts by hand or producing official documents for government officials. The pressure to produce accurate, neat work was immense, as mistakes could have significant consequences for both the scribe and their patrons. Every blot or smudge could mean a loss of reputation or even punishment. Moreover, the scribe's profession highlights the role of literacy in a society that prized education and eloquence. While a small elite could read and write, the majority of the population remained illiterate, reliant on the skills of those who could navigate the complexities of language. The work of the scribe, therefore, underscores the social divide between the educated and the uneducated, with scribes often viewed as tools of the elite rather than respected artisans in their own right. Why did this dynamic persist? The answer lies in the intersections of power and knowledge in Roman society. The ability to read and write was synonymous with status and influence, allowing the elite to maintain control over information and communication. While the scribes were integral to the functioning of society, their contributions often went unrecognized. They were the custodians of knowledge, yet trapped within a system that relegated them to the shadows. As you reflect on the life of the scribe, consider the weight of their words and the legacy they helped to create, often while remaining invisible to history. Let's transition from the world of ink and parchment to explore another lesser-known profession, the libitus or freedman, whose unique position in society reveals the complexities of freedom, status and identity in the Roman Empire. As you step away from the scribal chambers filled with parchment and ink, the vibrant streets of ancient Rome beckon with their cacophony of voices and bustling energy. Here, encounter a unique figure in the social hierarchy, the libitus or freedman. This profession embodies the complexities of status, freedom, and the persistent tangles of servitude that characterized Roman society. The life of a libitus is rich with contradictions, as these individuals navigated the liminal space between servitude and autonomy. Imagine a libitus strolling through the marketplace, wearing a simple but well-kept toga. Having once been a slave, their newfound freedom grants them a measure of status, yet one that is fraught with limitations. While they are no longer bound by the chains of servitude, they often remain tied to their former masters. Many freedmen were required to serve their patrons in various capacities, even after gaining their liberty. The glamorous illusion of freedom is overshadowed by the reality that social mobility was rarely straightforward. The shocking truth about the life of a libitus is that their freedom came with strings attached. Many were obligated to provide services or financial support to their former owners, living in a kind of perpetual debt that could limit their independence. Imagine the constant pressure to maintain favor with those who once held power over you, knowing that a slip in loyalty or performance could result in losing the very freedom you fought to attain. This situation crafted a precarious existence, where the libitus had to balance their relationship with their patron while striving for their own sense of identity. In many cases, liberty, the plural of libitus, were able to achieve some degree of wealth and influence, especially if they had been granted their freedom for good service. They could engage in business ventures, own property, and, in some instances, even rise to notable positions within society. However, their status as freedmen often left them on the fringes of social life, as they were still viewed with suspicion and disdain by those of higher birth. The social implications of being a libitus reveal the ingrained hierarchies that permeated Roman culture. Freedom was not an absolute concept, it was layered and nuanced, dependent on one's connections, wealth, and the favor of those in power. This complexity raises important questions about identity and belonging within a society that often prized lineage and heritage over individual achievements. As you contemplate the life of the Libertas, consider the notions of freedom and servitude, and how they intertwine in ways that challenge our understanding of autonomy. With this backdrop in mind, let us now delve into the societal backdrop that has characterized these peculiar jobs throughout the Roman Empire, exploring how the common thread of necessity unites them all, regardless of the roles individuals played within this grand tapestry of history. As you absorb the intricate dynamics of life as a Libertas, it becomes clear that the varied roles within Roman society are bound together by a common thread of necessity. Each profession we've explored, from toga makers to fortune tellers, reflects the unique interplay of labor, status, and societal perceptions. Beneath the surface of glamour and prestige lies the stark reality of survival, where individuals often grappled with the weight of their occupations and the stigma that accompanied them. Consider the toga maker, laboring tirelessly to create garments that signified power and respect, only to remain hidden in the shadows of society. The fullers, too, worked diligently to ensure cleanliness and refinement for the elite, often overlooked and deemed unworthy despite their essential contributions. Each profession, while seemingly independent, reveals interconnections that illustrate the complexities of Roman life. The roles of sewer cleaners, gladiator trainers, and bathhouse attendants all highlight the ways in which the pursuit of pleasure and status required the labor of those deemed lesser by the elite. The shocking reality of these occupations speaks to the broader social structure of ancient Rome, where the ideals of honor were often intimately tied to the exploitation of others. The glamour of the public baths or the grandeur of the gladiatorial games was made possible by the relentless labor of those at the bottom of the social hierarchy. This stark contrast raises significant questions about the nature of success and the sacrifices often required to maintain the status quo. Yet, the Libertas stands as a testament to the complexity of freedom within this system. They embody the struggles of many who sought to break free from societal limitations, navigating the intricate web of expectations and obligations tied to their past. The tension between servitude and autonomy encapsulates the very essence of Roman society, where social mobility was possible but fraught with challenges. This interconnectedness underscores a vital truth: the odd jobs we've examined, while seemingly trivial, played key roles in shaping the world of ancient Rome. They are reminders that every society relies on the labor of many, and that the pursuit of status often comes at a hidden cost. The glamorous illusions of power, wealth, and prestige are built upon the hard work of those who tend to the less glamorous realities of life. As we prepare to conclude our exploration of these intriguing professions, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons learned from the odd jobs of the Roman Empire. The stories of these individuals serve as reminders of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of societal expectations and the enduring quest for dignity and recognition, threads that continue to resonate in our modern lives as we consider the value of work and the stories behind every occupation. As we draw near the conclusion of our journey through the peculiar and fascinating occupations of ancient Rome, it's essential to reflect on the interwoven narratives we've explored. Each profession, from the toga makers to the scribe, from the sewer cleaners to the liberty, reveals a profound tapestry of human experience marked by struggle, resilience, and the quest for identity within a rigid social hierarchy. These odd jobs, often overlooked in the grand narratives of history, provide us with insight into the complexities of life in one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. Imagine the stories of the artisans who crafted the very garments that symbolized Roman citizenship, their hands stained not only by fabric dyes, but by the sweat of their labor. Think of the fullers, who transformed raw materials into pristine textiles, laboring under disdainful gazes, yet essential to the very image of Roman dignity. The sewer cleaners, the gladiator trainers, the venators, and the bathhouse attendants all navigated lives filled with grit and grime, yet each played an indispensable role in upholding the societal structures that defined the empire. In considering the life of the scribe, we see the weight of knowledge and the burden of literacy resting on their shoulders. They preserved ideas, laws, and history while often remaining nameless, lost in the pages they meticulously copied. The Libertas epitomizes the struggle between past servitude and the pursuit of freedom, illustrating how the complexities of social mobility can entangle individuals in a web of obligations and expectations. The lessons embedded in these narratives are multifaceted and resonate beyond the boundaries of time. They remind us that behind every glamorous fade lies a reality that is often harsh and uncomprehending. Every profession, no matter how odd or trivial it may seem, contributes to the collective identity of society. The interplay of dignity and disdain in the lives of these workers forces us to confront our perceptions of value, worth, and the intricate dance of social hierarchies that persist even today. As you reflect on these stories, consider how they echo in our modern world, where the contributions of many remain unrecognized while a few bask in the limelight. Society still grapples with the complexities of status, labor, and the often invisible hands that hold it all together. The narratives we've uncovered are not just historical curiosities, they serve as reminders of the enduring human spirit and the value of every individual's contribution to the tapestry of life. In closing, as you find yourself drifting off to sleep, may you carry with you the stories of those who lived and labored in ancient Rome, their experiences intertwined with our own in the endless continuum of human existence. Let the lessons of resilience, dignity, and the quest for recognition guide you in your own journey, whatever roles you may play in the grand theatre of life. End of script. Sweet dreams.